Zhang Zhongyong was silent with an ugly face. He originally thought that he could do whatever he wanted by grabbing Su Mimi's braids. At the same time, as a man who was cheated on, his mood can be imagined. He wanted to torture Su Mimi every day to vent his hatred. Who knew that this woman exposed the affairs of his own son and threatened to report it? If he reported it, his and his son's lives would be over. The end is more miserable than Sun Inrue. This damn woman. The uncle continued to knock on the table and said, "Then Mimi, you tell me, should we divorce and live separately or?" Su Mimi bit her nails and said fearlessly, "It depends on him. Before the divorce, he must sue him and ruin his reputation." The uncle looked at Zhang Zhongyong, and he immediately said in panic, "Of course we can't divorce. I will break off relations with her immediately and send them away as far as possible after the dark day is over." Su Mimi snorted. "Wait until the dark day is over? What about the house and the car?" Zhang Zhongyong squinted and stared at Su Mimi for a while before spitting out a few words. "Send them away immediately. I will take back both the house and the car." Su Mimi was satisfied and didn't say anything. The uncle appreciated Zhang Zhongyong's understanding and said a few soft words. He hoped that the family would be harmonious in the future. He warned Zhang Zhongyong to break off completely, otherwise the rest of his life would be over. He also asked Su Mimi to apologize to Jingma. Jingma still hummed lightly, and the uncle didn't say anything. Zhang Zhongyong would definitely not break off relations. Su Mimi thought she had Zhang Zhongyong under control, but the suffering was still to come. Zhang Henin stared at Jingshu with gritted teeth. What's the difference between her parents not getting divorced and getting divorced? One of them was thinking about the mistress, making the original wife hate her to death, and the other was thinking about how to make a fortune. Has anyone considered her thoughts? No one. Zhang Henin clenched her fists tightly and swore in her heart, "Don't give me a chance, otherwise you will all die miserably. Especially you, Jingshu." The matter was over. According to convention, everyone had to stay overnight, but Jing's mother was really cold. Thinking of the constant temperature, clean and odorless villa, she was eager to leave. Su Mimi said with some difficulty, "I will not move the car driven by that vixen again. Sister, I will return this car to you." It would be fine if she didn't mention the car. As soon as she mentioned the car, Jing's mother felt a dull pain in her heart. "Aunt's car is still as good as new. You felt that you lost money at the time, and we also felt very guilty. Otherwise, we will return it to the original owner, and you will also pretend that you have never sold the car." Zhang Henin decided to unite with her mother. Su Mimi looked at Zhang Henin with admiration and said, "This car can be sold for 200,000 yuan if sold outside, but isn't this your favorite car? How much did I pay for it at that time? Just pay me back. You were the ones who insisted on buying it at that time, and you are the ones who insist on selling it now. Since it can be sold for 200,000 yuan, you should sell it quickly. My mother won't want the car even if someone else touches it." After a pause, she continued, "If you have time to make money, you might as well think about how to deal with Sun Inrue's wife who has been reformed from prison. She will vent all the anger she has suffered in prison for this month on you." Jingshu gloated. Su Mimi's face turned pale. How could she forget about this? Jingshu and Wang Gang's family were about to leave, and the uncle sent them downstairs. "It's so late and cold, the bus has stopped working long ago, and there are no black cars. You should stay overnight." The uncle looked at the dark city outside. There was no moon or stars, and even the streetlights were gone. It was really pitch dark. "We can drive the energy car to old Jing's family." Wang Gang took out the car keys. "We are also driving an energy vehicle, so let's go our separate ways." Jing's father declined the kindness, took the mother and daughter into the car, turned on the heater and drove away. Looking at the backs of Jingshu's family, Wang Can, who had not spoken all night, said, "I always feel that their family is quite mysterious, not as vulnerable as Zhang Henin said. A family that can grow such fresh vegetables, and the hands of the whole family are very clean. There is no dirt under the nails, and they can wash clothes with laundry detergent, so they don't look like they are short of water. The most important thing is that they didn't bring any clothes. What's wrong with not bringing clothes? Wang Ken was curious. It means that they don't have the habit of wearing thick clothes on weekdays, and they will only be like this under constant temperature air conditioning. This is very curious. It is possible that my political achievements next month will depend on them. When will the dark day end? Who knows? A few days after the Lantern Festival, the power supply time in Wucheng was changed to 14 to 2000 hours, shortened to 6 hours. In order to improve efficiency and reduce energy output, the working hours were changed to 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., avoiding high temperatures. But this still cannot avoid hundreds of elderly people and children suffering from heatstroke every day due to various reasons and ineffective rescue. In the apocalypse, the first to be eliminated are always the frail, sickly elderly, and children. Hospitals are the only places with 24-hour electricity and air conditioning. Every hospital is overloaded with patients, and now they are so full that they can no longer accept any patients. At this time, something happened to make the situation even worse. According to reports, this is a new species of flying insect evolved from darkness and high temperature, named the black fungus beetle. It carries germs and spreads them wantonly. Like flying insects, it likes light. It is the size of a red date and likes to swoop down from high places and fly around. Although it does not bite and has no lethality, it can spread a variety of germs after contact. The germs it carries can lower human immunity, making people who do not normally get sick extremely prone to getting sick. Most of the current viral colds are caused by this insect. The black fungus beetle's weakness is that its sense of smell is 100 times stronger than that of similar insects. Just spray it with mosquito repellent, wind oil, and other floral water, and mosquito coils can effectively repel this insect. The country expects to carry out genocide treatment on this insect within a week and to produce a vaccine within 3 days. Please be patient. The outer cover of Jingshu's villa was buzzing with countless flying insects attracted by the light, and the black fungus beetle could be heard swooping down and hitting the tempered outer cover. Jing's father wore a bee-proof suit that covered his head and feet. He climbed up the ladder with water mixed with fenjiajing and began to spray the medicine on the tempered glass cover. As soon as he sprayed it, a large number of flying insects fell to the ground with a buzz, and more of them fled. However, the villa was very large and the workload was still very large. When Jing's father got this set of equipment, he was actually confused. Why did he feel that his daughter had a treasure pocket like Doraemon and could produce anything she wanted? It's developing really fast. There weren't so many of them a dozen days ago. Jingshu remembered that they didn't carry the virus when they first received water. Wang Chichi number 13, at everyone, if you have mosquito repellent at home, mosquitoes won't bite. If you have floral water, you must spray it on the windowsills and door cracks. Don't touch this black flying insect. If a neighbor accidentally gets a viral cold, go to the hospital immediately. Be sure to wrap yourself up tightly when you go out, and don't expose your skin. Wang Xueme number 2, what should I do? I went to supermarkets, stores, and pharmacies where fenjiajing and floral water are sold, and they are all sold out. Wang Xueme asked again, is anyone selling at a high price? Sell me a few bottles. Most people said they were helpless, or some people who had not bought any wanted to buy, because there were many deaths from the sudden outbreak of viral influenza in the past 2 days. This disease came on violently, and it would be too late if it was not controlled or treated overnight. As long as it can be controlled in the early stage, it will get better slowly in the later stage. The problem is that the hospital is full, and I heard that there are not many medicines now. Who dares to gamble with their own lives? The Chinese nation is actually very fragile in some aspects. If there is any sign of trouble, they will be alert and buy a lot. So when the news is broadcast, they will go to various drugstores and supermarkets to buy goods. Although there is a limit now, everyone can still buy more than a dozen bottles of toilet water. This led to a group of people hoarding a lot of goods first, And when a group of people wanted to buy, they were already sold out. Now the raw materials are not in supply and the merchants have stopped production long ago, so they can only find scalpers to buy at high prices. In the previous life, Jingshu's family was more informed because of Jingma, but they only managed to grab a few bottles at the pharmacy. Later, not only black fungus beetles, but also various kinds of carrion bugs appeared. If there is enough floral water, these can be avoided, so Jingshu bought a few boxes of fenjiajing in this life. Fenjiajing has the strongest and longest-lasting smell. Where there is fenjiajing, these bugs will retreat. Wang Qiqi number 13, let's do this. It will take a few days to wait for the country to issue vaccines or eliminate insects. I don't think I can use up more than a dozen bottles. If you have extra, sell them at 3 times the market price. Our group doesn't like to have neighbors who like to take advantage of others. I'll sell 2 bottles of floral water for 30 yuan each. Wang Qiqi, the group leader, took the lead, and soon people in 2s and 3s also shared some floral water. Jingshu thought for a moment and said, I'll sell 2 bottles of fenjiajing for 10 yuan each. Thank you for your generosity, neighbors. I will record the names of the neighbors who provided floral water on the bulletin board. Wang Qiqi was responsible for solving this matter. Not only did he receive gratitude from the neighbors, but he also satisfied the vanity of a group of neighbors who wanted to do good things. This method learned the essence of the news broadcast. Jingshu couldn't comment on what kind of person Wang Qiqi was. She could only observe him. Although the community basically had floral water, some people who didn't pay attention were eventually invaded by black fungus beetles. That night, the whole family was infected with viral colds. On the other hand, Jing's mother was watering her favorite apricot tree in the villa. From time to time, she would pick an apricot, crack the shell, and eat the almond inside. After a while, she would go to the greenhouse to get some strawberries to eat, pick some grapes and apples, and put them in the living room to ensure that there were fruits at home at any time, manage the fruits in the potted plants, use the milking machine to squeeze the milk, feed the pigs and chickens, water the vegetable garden, and feed the fish in the fish pond. There was really nothing to do, so she went to the cloakroom to sort out her clothes. She found that the spendthrift girl had really bought all kinds of clothes. She wore a one-piece suit when she went out these days, with the zipper pulled to the top of her head. There were 2 glass mirrors to provide vision, which absolutely prevented all insects from contacting her. The key was that it was breathable. These clothes are so expensive, this spendthrift. But Jing's mother was happy in her heart. She could see clearly what kind of life the people around her were living, but she was living an even better life than before. Jing's mother decided to cherish it and resolutely not allow anyone to break her happiness, and she must not let others know about her family's situation. By comparing Jing's mother during this period, she finally found that she was living a little too well, so well that she was afraid of others peeping. Since the working hours were changed, Jing's mother has been free, but Jing's father is as busy as a dog. Every day, he not only has to remove the silt from the water pipes, sweep the tempered glass cover, spray insect repellent, but also deal with the feces of cattle and sheep and deal with the feces at home. After the water supply was cut off, although their family had a water tank, they did not dare to use it casually, and they could no longer flush the toilet. Jingshu bought a lot of disposable paper toilets and cat litter, and buried the cat litter every time after urinating or defecating. At first, Jing's parents couldn't accept it either, but after using the toilet collection machine and laying cat litter, they only had to throw it out once a day. It was not only odorless, but also convenient, so they completely accepted it. It's just that my daughter likes to buy things one room at a time. I wonder if there is a cure? The toilet collection machine and cat litter were bought in a small room each. I'm afraid they will be used until the next life. Some time ago, Wang Qiqi organized people to build several squat-type public toilets, which are now in use, but everyone still uses urinals at home. However, just like Jingshu's smell when she goes to her uncle's house, it is inevitable. Compared with running for several minutes to go to the toilet in the dust, hot or cold weather, Jing's parents still prefer to go to the toilet at home, which is also convenient. After finishing all this, Jing's father has to drive to the supermarket every day to buy some dried fruits and grains. Since the key to the basement is with Jingshu, Jingshu cooks every day. Jing's parents only know that Jingshu has filled the kitchen refrigerator and bought a batch of grains to start a live broadcast to make delicious food, but they don't know how much she bought. Jing's mother said to stock up some more food, mainly because the family eats too much and Jing's mother is worried. Jing's father goes to queue up to bring some back every day. He likes to eat melon seeds and badam, and he buys a lot of these two things. Today, Jing's father came back early in full armor and brought back some bad news. All supermarkets will be closed for 3 days starting today. The opening hours will be changed to 19 to 2100 hours every day, only open for 2 hours, saying that it is to avoid the hot season and viral infections. This black fungus beetle is too contagious. Several young men in our unit were infected. Fortunately, they were sent to the hospital in time. But now the hospital seems to refuse to accept them. First, there is no medicine, and second, there is really no space. Jing's mother threw Jing's father's changed clothes into the washing machine. This trip out is full of dust and dirt. I have to change quickly, otherwise I will rub against the sofa. I have to wash the sheets on the bed. That day, I went to Jingshu's uncle's house and sat for an afternoon. When I came back, the family's buttocks were all black. When I was driving today, there were all these bugs hitting the glass outside. There were fewer pedestrians outside. Why don't you take a leave from work? Don't other companies have 3-day holidays? That won't work. The higher-ups said that we have to hold on unless we die of illness. We have to work hard for 60 days. When Jingshu was half asleep at night, her phone kept beeping. Unfortunately, her hearing had improved a lot, so she was finally woken up. She looked at the time and it was already 2 a.m. There were more than a dozen unread messages in the group. Jingshu flipped through them. Building 13, at everyone help. Our family of 3 has a viral cold. Who has a car and gas to take us to the hospital? The 120 ambulance is all busy. Our 1-year-old child is unconscious now. Please, if you really don't have a car, can any kind-hearted person take my son to see a doctor? You can pay any price. Please save my child. At everyone, save my child first. Please. Some sleeping people were still awakened. I'll help you first. Ulsong has not checked in yet. Anyone who has his phone number can call him to pick someone up. It doesn't matter how much money it is. I'll go there right now. What's the patient's room number? Wang Chichi said in the group. We are in room 501, building 13. Wang Dazhao number 1, I have a phone number. I just called Ulsong to ask him to come and save people. The man said that he would risk his life to go out for 60,000 yuan, otherwise he would not come out. He asked for a random price when he took a black car several times. Young master, I have a baby, sent a weak voice. Here, we will give money. Please ask him to come quickly. Wang Dazhao number 1. Then you guys hold on a little longer. It takes at least half an hour to get here from the city. Wang Tsuehua sent a voice. People nowadays are really crazy about money. The chat ended here. This was a message from a few minutes ago. Going downstairs to Jing's father's bedroom, Jingshu listened and there was no movement inside. She thought that adults could hold on, but it would be difficult for children. Children are the hope for life to continue, especially in the end times. Even Jingshu, who is used to seeing life and death, hopes that more children can survive, not to mention that it is easy for her to save a family of 3. Thinking of this, Jingshu quickly put on her clothes while sending messages, applied fenjiajing, and then put on a one-piece suit to fully arm herself. The premise of saving people is not to sacrifice yourself and not to cause trouble for others. At Wang Dazhao number 1 called that person and told him that he didn't need to come. At Shaonai, I have a baby, I have an energy car and I will take you to the hospital now, no charge, just go downstairs and I will wait for you downstairs at building 13. At Wang Chichi, Please follow and take care of it. Jingshu's message bombarded the group like a cannonball, causing a great response. Wang Dazhao number 1, at Xiaozhu Villa District. Okay, I'll call right away. So the energy vehicle is yours. Awesome. Wang Suihua sent a voice message. There are still good people. I hope the child is okay. Jingshu also applied wind oil to the headlights, and Wang Qiqi, the black fat man, helped the person and carried the baby down. The two had messy hair and haggard black faces, and the woman had already cried. Jingshu quickly helped the person into the car, and the 5 of them rushed to the nearest hospital. Jingshu stepped on the accelerator and drove all the way. Are you alone? Wang Qiqi was surprised. In the past, they looked so ordinary as a family of 3, but now they looked more and more extraordinary. The only owner of the energy vehicle in the community lived in the Villa District, but was so low-key and was able to give it to others at such a critical moment at a certain risk of life, and did not ask for compensation. It was true that sometimes the richer the person, the more cultured he is. My mother had to get up at 4 o'clock to go to work, so I didn't bother her. I am enough by myself, Jingshu said. Energy vehicles will switch to gasoline at speeds above 60 miles per hour. The current speed has reached 110. The young couple was so focused on their children that they didn't notice. Wang Qiqi noticed it, but he was smart enough not to say anything, not even asking if your car still had gas at this time. Soon he was attracted again. Jingshu's clean one-piece dress wrapped her tightly, the clean seats in the car and the faint fragrance of wind oil. Wang Qiqi quietly raised his buttocks, trying to keep his dirty buttocks away from the clean seats to avoid embarrassing others. You can sit down, it's okay. Jingshu braked suddenly, turned a corner, and then stepped on the accelerator, and Wang Qiqi crashed into the door frame. Wang Qiqi opened his mouth in pain, feeling even more ashamed, and gently sat on the damn chair. Soon they arrived at the nearest Yuan hospital. The lights all night long made countless black fungus beetles fly above, and there were night patrolmen spraying medicine constantly. After passing 2 security checks, Jingshu led people to the door, and then she understood what Jingma meant by, there is really no room. That is, there is no room to move even your feet, and you have to squeeze to walk. The noise in the hospital is not loud, and no one dares to speak loudly. The large LCD screen shows, those who emit more than 50 decibels twice will be asked to leave the hospital, except for babies. Those who are critically ill, please go to the critically ill number directly. Jingshu thinks that the reason why no one dares to speak loudly is that everyone doesn't know how loud 50 decibels is. A poor student like her doesn't know. But Jingshu was still dumbfounded. The scene of so many people standing and hanging bottles and holding them by themselves was too spectacular. The security lady at the door pulled the confused people and handed them a number sheet with number 098 written on it. She pointed to the window and asked them to wait in line. The couple was so anxious that they almost cried. Jingshu hurried to explain. This child is dying. We need to register for critical illness. Jingshu showed the unconscious child to the security lady, and then Jingshu held the child, followed by the weak couple, who were taken to the critical illness area by the security lady. Wang Qiqi waited here and waited for news from the ordinary number to notify Jingshu. The couple cried and whispered thanks along the way. The situation in the critical illness area was much worse. There were many people lying in all directions. Some were dead, some were dying, and some were still being rescued. The scene was very chaotic, and the doctors had to stay up all night again with bloodshot eyes. Fortunately, a doctor soon got away to see him. Without saying a word, he started a series of rescue treatments. In the end, he hung up a bottle and said, if he doesn't wake up in half an hour, the possibility of survival is very low. He turned around and treated the patient behind him who also had a viral cold. Everyone here is in emergency or dying, and the doctor doesn't even have time to talk. Net name: Xiao Nai. I have a baby's mother fainted on the spot, and after another tossing and turning, Jingshu was left alone in this noisy hospital to guard a little ball. Jingshu was too familiar with the surrounding environment, desperate eyes, numb tears. In her previous life, Jingshu's mother also suffered from severe heatstroke and was taken to the hospital for rescue, but she left it to fate. Fortunately, she survived. Jingshu really thanked heaven and earth. Half an hour was about to pass. Jingshu shifted her sight and looked at the baby carefully. Although it was a little dirty, it was still very cute, but at this moment, it was pale and closed its eyes, unconscious. After thinking about it, she fed the baby some diluted spiritual spring. After more than 10 minutes, there was still no response. After more than 40 minutes, there was still no sign of waking up. Sighing, she tried her best, and Jingshu forced a drop of spiritual spring into the baby. Then within 5 minutes, the crying sound suddenly filled the whole critical care room. Jingshu was a little unprepared. The doctor came to check again and said in surprise, "The effect of the medicine is not so fast. How come the child recovered? Can you feed him something?" Jingshu hurriedly fed the whole bottle of milk, but he was still not satisfied after eating it. Jingshu fed the child all the food that the couple brought in their pockets, but the child was still not satisfied. Jingshu knew that this was the effect of the spiritual spring. It turns out that the spiritual spring can actually save people. This accident seemed to make Jingshu discover something incredible. So good people are rewarded. It can be said that Jingshu has another life-saving trump card. A drop of pure spiritual spring can save people. This unexpected surprise came at the right time. At everyone, this time I want to thank at Shaoshu Villa District. Thanks to her for taking a family of 3 with a viral cold to the hospital at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. The child has now passed the critical period and the adults are fine. Because there are too many people in the hospital, we have completed the discharge procedures and returned to the community. Remind everyone to take protective measures. Now the hospital has run out of medicine. On the 3rd day, the couple brought their children to thank Jingshu and brought a box of purple and sweet potato dried gifts. This is life-saving food after the end of the world. The couple opened a sweet potato dried shop in the city. Recently, they couldn't sell it, and the supply of raw materials stopped, so they temporarily closed it. There are still a lot of sweet potato dried at home. Jingshu didn't want money, so she could only use her own specialty as a thank you gift. Jingshu was very satisfied and ate a lot with Xia Chuanzi, the couple's son. After drinking the spiritual spring, the little dumpling's appetite increased greatly. Fortunately, he ate more and defecated more, and there was no other abnormality at present. It was sweet and chewy in the mouth, which was also a very good food in the end times. Jingshu decided to make some dried sweet potatoes herself in the future. That day, Jing's mother really scolded Jingshu again. When saving people, she should at least bring Jing's father with her. It was too dangerous to save people alone. I'm scared just thinking about it. Wang Hong, one of the female colleagues who came with me to sell the house that day, got sick in the middle of the night. When she was found to be in line at the hospital, she died directly today. Alas, she also had to pay 500 yuan for the funeral, and she still owed me 800 yuan. Jingshu. The focus seems to be different? As people around him kept dying and the dark day did not end, the people became more and more panicked. The country's vaccine was delayed, but a national mission was announced first. In 2117, Australia injected Wolbachia bacteria into toxic mosquitoes, causing male sterility, and released 20 million sterile, toxic mosquitoes to harm normal mosquitoes and spread Wolbachia bacteria. This will cause more and more mosquitoes to contain this bacteria and thus cannot continue the next generation of toxic mosquitoes, thus sterilizing the toxic mosquitoes and achieving excellent results. This method is also effective on black fungus beetles. But this method has the disadvantage of being regional, so it needs to be implemented by local governments. The bacteria have been distributed to all urban and rural governments. Local governments need to capture a certain number of black fungus beetles locally and inject this bacteria and release them to sterilize the beetles. They cannot reproduce the next generation, and when this generation of black fungus beetles dies, they will become extinct. Just like in the previous life, the country began to find something for the people to do to dispel the panic in their hearts and improve their collective sense of honor. There is a saying, when you have nothing to do after eating, you like to daydream. This sentence has philosophical truth. If a person is so busy that he falls asleep and has no time to think about other things, he will not think about other things. The leaders are good at putting themselves in the shoes of the people and grasping their minds. Every day when the water truck delivers water in Wuchang, it will follow the insect collection truck. It also distributes head covers, sacks, nets, and other tools. A sack of black fungus beetles can be exchanged for an extra bucket of water, which has driven everyone's enthusiasm. The possibility of people risking their lives to catch black fungus beetles for free is too small. This matter must be based on cooperation between the two parties. In addition, although many families have not yet reached the point of filling the bowls after eating, they have reached the point of using toilet paper to wipe the bowls. Drinking water is just enough for cooking, so everyone is happy to have extra water. When the temperature dropped that day, the people in Jingshu community formed a group. Every household put on head covers, put on thick socks and rain boots, applied floral water, put on gloves and wrapped their bodies tightly to catch insects. Each of us has to pay at least 10 sacks of live worms. Other public institutions also have to pay 5 sacks. Jing's mother said worriedly while eating an apple. When the black fungus beetle first appeared, Jing's father sent Jing's mother a batch of floral water, mineral water, and vegetables, so he was very relaxed at the moment and said easily, "Then I will also go to the gate of the community to catch them for you." "How long will it take to catch them?" "I can't catch a sack in a day." At this time, Jingshu took out a sunproof light stick and said, "Use this." Jing's father always thought that his daughter was the reincarnation of Doraemon. Just as the neighbors in the community were using nets to catch flying insects one by the only street light at the gate, Jingshu and Jing's father came to their villa fully armed, took several light sticks, turned on the strong light, and placed them on the ground. After a while, many flying insects fluttered down and kept buzzing. Jingshu put a sack on it and then pulled out the light sticks crawling with insects, and she could fill 1/3 of it. Jing's father followed suit, and in less than half an hour, the two of them filled 10 sacks and completed the task. During this time, Jing's father was shivering when he saw the dense black bugs, but his daughter took the initiative. Sometimes she would just catch the flying bugs she missed and throw them into the air. The giant chicken that his daughter picked up recently would fly up to catch it, and then the daughter would praise it. This looked like training the chicken like a dog. The key point was that the chicken did very well. Jing's father didn't know if there was something wrong with the world or with him. Give this to the neighbors in the community. Jing's father said that at most 3 or 4 could be caught with a net, and it would take a long time to fill a sack. They finally have some evening entertainment. Dad, don't ruin it. Jingshu waved at number 1, who had just passed the clear road in the past 2 days. "Number 1, let's go." Number 1 reluctantly pulled himself out of the pile of insects with his big butt and returned to Jingshu's side. This guy is simply a bottomless pit. After resuming the intake of spiritual springs, he can continue to eat no matter how much he eats. The insects outside have become his delicious meals, and he can never eat enough, because he eats while pulling. The national insect catching activities. It has successfully aroused everyone's enthusiasm. Every household has more or less a few buckets of water. Within 3 days, the Wuchang government announced that all the insects have been injected with bacteria and released. It will take more than 10 days for this batch of black fungus beetles to die, and this insect disaster will be completely over, so that the citizens can rest assured. 50 days have passed since the end of the world, and the number of black fungus beetles has been decreasing rapidly. When the domestic situation is getting better, Jing's father received a phone call from Jing's mother crying. "Come and have a look. Jinglai and Yui have been infected by black fungus beetles and have contracted a viral cold. Now the nearby hospitals are refusing to see them and say they have no medicine. What can we do?" Cluck, cluck, cluck. The fighting chicken screamed as Jingshu lifted its wings. When Jingshu heard her grandma crying, her heart was in tatters. Her first thought was whether something had happened to her grandfather. She relaxed when she heard that only her third aunt and cousin had caught a cold. In her previous life, she could only leave it to fate, but in this life, she had the spiritual spring of space. Go to your nest and stay there. If you harm other chickens again, I will fry you and make a big plate of chicken. Jingshu threw the 30-pound hen 4 or 5 meters with one hand, and it landed accurately in front of its luxurious chicken coop, which was covered with comfortable hay, which Jing's father had specially built for it. That's right, this thing was originally put together with other chickens and ducks, but it was domineering and not only ate all the chickens and ducks' food, but also snatched food from the pigs. The most excessive thing was that it wanted to drink milk. The whole chicken coop and the cowshed were in chaos. Just when Jing's mother and father wanted to settle the score with it, it ran away very fast. Jing's mother chased it all over the yard with a broom but couldn't catch it. She almost fell into the fish pond. There should be a background music here. You can't catch me. I'm just that strong. Ha 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 ha. Jingshu caught it and gave it a good beating. Jing's father made an independent luxurious chicken coop for it. This thing was honest. It was really born with a chicken body, but actually has the soul of a husky. Let's go and see what's going on. Jing's father put on a one-piece suit and rushed out after answering the phone. He obviously lost his mind. Now, if you have a viral cold, you will go to the gates of hell, not to mention that the hospital refuses to accept it and has no medicine, which is even more dead. Dad, please apply some Fenjiajing first. Don't worry. Last time when I saved a family of 3, I asked the doctor for some special medicine. It's very effective. I'll go get it now. After that, Jingshu took 2 common cold medicines and rushed to the third aunt's house in the city with Jing's father. Jingshu was driving the car. Jing's father was very emotional. In his heart, he felt the most guilty towards Jinglai among the 3 sisters. He should have been filial to the elderly, but Jinglai had done it all these years. In addition, Jinglai had the worst life among the 3 sisters, which made him feel even more guilty. Even if his daughter said there was a special medicine, he was still afraid of losing his relatives because so many people died every day because of this. The temperature in Wucheng was still 47 degrees Celsius. I heard that Chongqing and Wuhan had already exceeded 50 degrees Celsius, which was hotter than the hottest area in Torpon before, which was 49.6 degrees Celsius. There were still people suffering from heat stroke every day, but after the lack of electricity and air conditioning, people seemed to be able to gradually adapt. CCTV has recently been promoting an African custom of mixing mud and butter and applying it on the body. It is not only heat-resistant and mosquito-proof, but also clean and dirt-resistant, so you don't need to take a bath for several years. This method has been imitated by some people, and they have set up flags in their circle of friends, saying that they will wash off the mud on their bodies whenever water comes. Jingshu opened the door, and a wave of heat hit her face. Jingya paced in the hot room, and Jingnai sobbed with tears. The haggard third aunt Jinglai was lying on the sofa, making a fuss. Don't cry when Jingon comes later, thinking that I have done something to you. Didn't the hospital say that they will notify us when the medicine arrives? There are people who have endured it during this period. Drink more water, okay? I know. We can drink as much as we can. Jinnai held her daughter's hand with both hands and cried sadly. How can we 2 old people be fine? This is asking the old to send the young off. Wu Yui was lying on the chaise longue with headphones on, reading comics, and there were all kinds of snacks and mineral water around him. I'm afraid he wanted to finish the snacks before he died. The arrival of Jingshu and Jing's father made Jing's grandmother cry again. The old lady was very sentimental. She liked to cry when she was wronged or sad. Moreover, her daughter and granddaughter died at an unknown time. She was immediately at a loss. Girl, feed them your special medicine first. If they don't work, I will call and find someone to go to the hospital. There is always a way. Jing's father stood in the living room with his hands on his hips. He was like this when he was anxious. What special medicine? The attention of cousin Wu Yui was finally diverted. It's a special medicine for curing diseases. Take it quickly. Open your mouth. Jingshu handed over the medicine and water. As a child of a single parent, Wu Yui is somewhat autistic. She likes to be alone and likes to imagine that she will travel through time and become the protagonist. The lonely and four-eyed girl in the anime is tailor-made for her. She is very serious. Besides, other people are autistic and talk less, but she either doesn't talk or can't stop talking. In fact, everyone is the protagonist of their own stage. When Jingshu gave her medicine, she refused to take it and even sabotaged it. Isn't this just baijiahai? How can it be a special medicine? Don't people with viral colds hang bottles? I've never heard of taking medicine. You didn't get it from a scalper, did you? You can't take it then. Jingshu was too lazy to explain. She pulled Wu Yui over, pinched her mouth, and stuffed the medicine in it. She added a drop of lingquan to a mouthful of water and poured it in. Jingshu didn't even say that she felt sorry for lingquan. Wu Yui actually refused to take it. Jingnai patted Wu Yui on the back. Take the life-saving medicine quickly, kid. Don't be long-winded. Wu Yui. I always feel like I'm being fed poison. Is this the rhythm of killing me and then traveling through time? But it's better than dying of illness and then traveling through time. That's right, Wu Yui is not afraid of death at all. She thinks that if she dies, her soul will be reincarnated like in novels and comics. After they drank the spiritual spring, their stomachs started to growl, and then they began to eat frantically. Jingnai cooked a big pot of rice in the kitchen, took out a jar of pickled cucumbers, a small jar of beef jerky, fried a dozen eggs, and stir-fried black fungus, mushrooms, and cabbage. After they finished eating, they went to the toilet and continued to eat. I'm afraid your medicine is fake? Wu Yui asked incoherently while eating. The whole family was a little worried. Then do you feel that there are still symptoms of viral cold? Jingshu clearly used a drop of spiritual spring to save the little dumpling that day. I feel that my body is full of strength. Wu Yui clenched his fist and nodded affirmatively. The previous symptoms have disappeared, and it seems that he is really healed. The face of the third ant was much rosier. That's good, that's good. It may be that the medicine is too strong and has side effects. You should eat as much as you can and make sure you are full. Jingnai wiped her tears quietly again and went back to have more food. At this moment, she had endless energy in her body. She even laughed when she saw the old man. This kind of joy after the disaster was really joyful. She felt relaxed all over. Jingshu also had more food by the way and analyzed the reason. Lingquan should have been added too much. For critically ill patients, 1 drop is needed. For patients like third ant who are not seriously ill, half a drop is enough. The extra may be transferred to accelerate digestion. Jing's father was also relieved and ate a few fried eggs. Mom, why don't you and third sister come to live with me for a few days? The weather is so hot, you don't have electricity to turn on the air conditioner, no water to flush the toilet, no vegetables or fresh fruits to eat, and you don't know when the dark day will end. Come back after the dark day is over. Jingshu held her forehead with a little melancholy. Jing's father boasted that dark day will not end, and this is already the end of the world. At least the next 10 years will be spent in various natural disasters and man-made disasters. Does the third aunt and cousin have to live there forever? She is also afraid of the rope after being bitten by a snake once. Grandpa and Grandma Jing's father have the obligation to support them. Moreover, she does not want her grandparents to die early in this life. However, she was killed by her aunt and outsiders in her previous life, which made her wary of everyone else. She is afraid of raising another ungrateful person. Just when she was about to refuse and find a reason to refuse, her cousin Wu Yui refused first. I have to work with the professor on scientific research topics in the next half month to strive for the opportunity to be recommended. You guys go ahead. Wu Yui is used to living alone. For the female homebody, all the problems of Jing's father are not a problem. She can go without cooking, washing dishes, taking a bath, or using air conditioning for a month. As long as her spiritual needs are met, it is enough. Such a nerd who lives in the second dimension is actually a top student. Jingshu squinted her eyes and finally remembered the reason. The family of her third aunt's ex-husband favored boys over girls, and her third aunt couldn't get pregnant again, so she resolutely divorced and wanted to change Wu Yui's surname to Jing Yui when she went to school, but unfortunately Wu Yui refused to agree. She said, "I want to be named Wu. I can't hide my bloodline. I will study hard and become a scientist and become the most powerful person. Let the Wu family regret and beg me, and then I will change my surname. I won't change my surname unless I make a name for myself." So she worked hard and indulged in the second dimension world. She envied the protagonist in it who changed his fate against all odds. "I will stay to accompany Yui and let my parents go." Jing Lai couldn't let her daughter go in this environment. "Then let's wait for Yui to finish this period of time. If the dark day is not over yet, we can stay for a few days to relax. Now the mother and daughter are just right, so we can't worry about it." Jing's grandmother smiled and grabbed Jingshu's arm, very satisfied. "It's a little fatter." Jingshu's face was full of black lines. This time, they came in a hurry and didn't bring anything. Jing's father agreed to bring some fresh fruits and vegetables in a few days and left. Jingshu also quietly breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, Jingshu felt that this was not a solution. The elderly pay attention to returning to their roots. They don't like to live in their daughter's house today and live in their son's house tomorrow. The end of the world is still a long way to go. Even if Grandpa and Grandma continue to live in the villa, they are not comfortable, but Jingshu is worried about letting them live in the countryside. But Jingshu didn't expect that after a few days of worrying, this matter was successfully resolved. The sunlight disappeared for nearly 2 months. It has been a while since the news said that it would end in more than 30 days, but the sun didn't seem to come out at all. After half a month of disturbance, the black fungus beetle incident has almost disappeared. People are gradually getting used to the high temperature, lack of water, and no longer have the death pressure of bacteria transmission. Every day, people are talking about whose family has died, and they're beginning to worry. While thinking about when the dark day will pass, they want to stock up more food. Because no one knows when the light will return, CCTV Science Channel has made the latest statement: "The dark day is saving us." It is reported that the impact of the collision of stars caused the Earth's orbit to deviate, resulting in frequent seasons and making the Earth one step closer to the Sun, so the temperature is so high. This is thanks to the billions of ashes produced by the collision of stars that remain in the atmosphere and block the sunlight. Otherwise, the temperature of the Earth will be higher. The living environment will be even worse. Now the Earth is slowly returning to its orbit. Please be patient and wait for the Earth to recover. Jing's father and mother showed an expression of "so that's it" after reading it. Jingshu couldn't help rolling her eyes. "Keep bragging. You can find all kinds of reasons every month. Awesome." Even if the central government tried every way to appease and even issued task targets to local governments, and even added a few departmental positions, the first position is a condolence talk specialist, who ensures that every community visits residents, collects people's voices, comforts those who are upset, and monitors to prevent trouble. The second position is a crop cultivation specialist, recruiting people who are good at growing vegetables in the dark and other related positions. The third position is a civilian security guard, who is responsible for security checks at supermarkets, hospitals, and bus stations. It is also to give idle people some treatment to prevent trouble. Generally, there are 2 armed policemen and 10 security guards. However, in a while, only those with strong connections and ability can be competent. Don't underestimate these positions. After the end of the world, these positions are the easiest in the system and at least enjoy the treatment of a meal. In fact, the The big canteen that appears after a year is not bad for serving food, counting materials, distributing water, and keeping scores. Jingshu intends to let Jing's father enter the first or second position first. If he waits until the situation stabilizes next year, it will be difficult to enter. The opening time of the big supermarket was changed to 19 to 2100 hours, which is only open for 2 hours. In the case that it is not known when the sun will return, there are more people queuing every day. I don't know when people started queuing from 1700 hours to wait for the supermarket to open, and this situation is getting worse. Jingshu remembered that in less than 3 months, people would have to queue up for days and nights to wait for the supermarket to open for an hour, and those who didn't get their turn would have to wait until tomorrow. Snacks, byproducts, vegetables, grains and oils, and everything else that could be eaten were being snapped up, and some people even went to the countryside to collect grain at a high price. While prices were soaring, cars that were almost worth scrap metal were also falling madly in price. Everyone's wallets were empty because of the money they spent on buying this and that, transportation fees, hospitalization fees, and food expenses in the past 2 months. So what could they do? Sell cars. Sell houses. But as the death toll continued to rise, the demand for these two things decreased even more madly, and the housing prices, which had been falling because there were too many houses, fell to the bottom. People who had 3 or 4 houses were panicking. They couldn't sell their houses and cars, and they didn't have cash to buy grain from private hands. What could they do? Lower prices, keep lowering prices. This led to the phenomenon that the housing market was about to collapse. Building 25 for sale? At everyone, I have a 123 square meter house for sale on the first floor of Building 25. It only costs 200,000 yuan now. Cash is required, no loans accepted. Wang Tsuehua sent a voice message. You are crazy about money. You can't sell it in this desolate mountain at 1,600 yuan per square meter. The price in the city has dropped to 2,000 yuan. Jingshu was surprised when this message suddenly appeared in the group. A few days ago, she was still worried about where Sangha would live in the future and how Jingnai could live comfortably. Today, someone is selling a house. Besides, this community will be a new development area of Wuqing in the future. Many people are scrambling to get in but can't. It is very cost-effective to buy a house at a low price now. As for the idea of renting a house and taking a place first, it is not feasible at all, because this area will be taken over by the government in the future. When the flood submerges half of Wuqing, there will be countless homeless people who need to be arranged. Except for the owner who owns the house, all others will be arranged according to the government. After half a year of riots, no one disobeys. If you don't obey, you will have no food to eat and you will be arrested for labor reform, including renting a house, etc. You have to rearrange it. If you have some connections, you will add some people to it. If you don't have any connections, you will live in the parking space line divided in the basement. If you don't pay the full amount of money for buying a house with a loan, you have to hand in some food every month, because the loan money is from the bank and the bank belongs to the country. As for how the government knows whether you have bought a house, whether you bought it with a loan or in full. Since the big data in 2018, you can know all your information by swiping your ID card, including the relief food you received on December 2022. Recorded means the things you have done or the good deeds recorded in your ID card information. In the end times, people need to scan their faces and ID cards to get relief food, and those who commit crimes will be directly blacklisted. Therefore, the end times will not support idle people, and if you want to survive, you must create value. Jingshu's thoughts were distracted, and when she came to her senses, there were already several messages. Building 25 for sale. Sister, I spent 250,000 to buy the house, and spent another 100,000 to decorate it, buy furniture and appliances. These are all free. I originally wanted to stay here for the weekend, but now I'm selling it at a loss. Wang Suihua sent a voice message, then ask other people and see who has no house to live in. Whoever buys a car or a house now is a fool. Building 25 for sale. Sister, don't spoil it if you don't want to buy it. Jingshu added this person as a friend and then sent a message. I want the house for 130,000 yuan and I can pay now. I buy houses just to hoard them. I will wait for the house price to rise in a few years. If it is too expensive, I will not buy it. After all, it will face the risk of collapse at any time. This person thought about it for more than 10 minutes. He has been selling houses at a continuously lowered price in the past few days. When the other party heard that the location was out of Wucheng, he would not hoard it no matter how cheap it was. Now the car is not used, and buying it at a low price must have some potential. It's better to sell it than to lose it. This person lives in a villa and buys a house just to hoard the house. I can buy a batch of food with this money. Cabbage can't be bought for 100 yuan. The man who sold building 25 still agreed. Then go to handle the procedures at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. The next day, Jingshu and Jing's father sent Jing's mother to work together for the first time and brought lunch for Jing's mother. Sweet and sour radish, stir-fried meat with black fungus, spicy cabbage with rice, 2 braised eggs, and a bowl of refrigerated milk. I dare not bring too good or fresh fruits. After all, vegetables are too rare nowadays. Jing's mother has to hide the food every time she eats. She has a big appetite recently, so it is not enough if she brings less. The recent policy changes make these low-level people work overtime every day, just like in the previous life, but Jingshu knows that her mother's opportunity is coming soon, and she must seize it in this life. Then she took their ID cards when delivering vegetables to the old couple, and then went to the real estate bureau that had an appointment yesterday to go through the procedures for buying a house with Jing's father and the seller. One actively sells, and the other actively buys, and the transfer is very smooth. After getting the key and arriving at building 25, which was 100 meters opposite their villa, Jing's father looked confused. So, why did you buy another house for your grandparents? The house here is so remote. I plan to buy a house in the city after a few years when my financial conditions improve. It's too deserted here, with inconvenient transportation and shopping. Going out feels like going from the countryside to the city. Jing's father was deeply touched these days when he queued up at the supermarket and sent Jing's mother to work. Jingshu took Jing's father around and was very satisfied. There were 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, and 2 bathrooms. The furniture and appliances, including the bed, were all complete, except for the lack of air conditioning. The only thing missing was bedding and other daily necessities. It was ready for moving in. The decoration is very ordinary, and all the materials used are cheap. Jing's father said, "Don't we owe Grandpa and Grandma 200,000? They definitely won't want it, so why not buy them a house? And write the name of Grandpa and Grandma. In the future, whether it is the 3rd aunt or the eldest aunt or the 2nd aunt, they will live in Grandpa and Grandma's house as if they are at home. We have to live there for at least a few years, right?" Then Jingshu told Jing's father about her idea and even said, "In the future, when you and Grandpa are not quarreling, you can live together. If you quarrel, they can move back to live for 2 days, isn't it? If they want to live in the countryside, they can live in the countryside. If they want to live for a long time, they can live here. It's their own house." Jing's father's eyes gradually lit up. He had always wanted to live with the old couple, but living together made Jing's grandfather always angry and had a heart attack. Now this problem seems to have been solved. In the next few days, Jing's father and Jingshu were busy reorganizing the house to prepare a surprise for the old couple. Since there was no place to put the UBC solar energy on the first floor, the air conditioner was not installed. Instead, the manager from last time was contacted to help install 6 water purifiers. Because of the water outage, the prices of these things were reduced again, and basically no one bought them, so they were installed quickly. Then put the purchased bedding, daily necessities, and some clothes of the old couple in. Jingshu had to take care of these messes during the day. Every day while cooking, she had to store more cooked food. At night, she had to inspect the poultry in the space. The quails had multiplied to more than 600 and she was waiting to find time to roast them and put them in the space. The soybeans were also cooked in 3 batches. When Jignai and the others came, they could make tofu together. In February, all major schools decided to continue the holiday, and the start time of school would be notified. The senior high school students also had a holiday because the school was also canceled from the special power supply treatment. The power supply time in Wuching was shortened again, from 16 to 1930, with only 3.5 hours of power supply per day, which caused a lot of trouble to the lives of many citizens. For example, you need to buy more power banks to prevent your phone from running out of power, boil water in advance, and only open the refrigerator for 3.5 hours a day, so the food inside will melt and go bad. So you have to clean up the frozen food quickly. Some people who grow vegetables at home and simulate sunlight may have to give up all their efforts and not grow any vegetables. If you say that the troubles of life can always be overcome, it is difficult to overcome the body. In the past, there were at least 6 hours of air conditioning, but now it is basically impossible to turn on the air conditioning in a day, and a large number of people have heat stroke. Unfortunately, the hospital is overloaded every day, and the drugs have been discontinued long ago, and now they are out of supply. Even if everyone is limited to buying drugs in major pharmacies, they are basically sold out. At the same time, the government also announced a suspension of medical insurance card swiping, and all pharmacies were closed and the government collected all drugs. Just like in the previous life, the medical insurance card will not be used for a long time, and the government has begun to enter the time of forced collection of all materials, and at this time, some food factories are hoarding materials. Although Wuching has only 4 million people, it has plenty of people to deploy. That's why the supplies in various large wholesale markets and large chain supermarkets in Wuching have disappeared quietly recently. As for how they disappeared, just use your imagination. So, all the major sellers, if you are willing to cooperate, we can still have fun and gain both fame and fortune afterwards. If you are unwilling to cooperate, just come into the small house to drink tea, eat and drink, and wait for the dark day to end before you pay compensation. Jingshu also found out that the upper level had already deployed all of this a long time after the end of the world, so she could still take out expired food in the 5th year of the end of the world, which had a lot to do with the collection of supplies during this period. Of course, there are also disobedient ones. So, Jingshu can see every day these days that XX violated food safety for some reason and was completely recycled. XX added something and it is now recycled. A canning factory used moldy fruit to make canned food and has now recycled it all, etc. Then he emphasized on praising a certain enterprise. Although it had stopped production long ago, it had donated 150 million instant noodles so far, and the instant noodles and ham sausages donated later formed a sharp contrast. Wuching eliminated all the disobedient food factories, integrated the remaining food processing factories, and then began to process chickens, ducks, cattle, and sheep, and then process these poultry. The high temperature will continue for a long time. It seems that the remaining poultry and fish in the freshwater lake will not survive for long. It is better to keep some seeds and clean them up as soon as possible to make cooked food. Besides, there will be no food to feed poultry in the next 2 years. Wang Chichi number 13, at everyone. The above is recruiting workers who process poultry and make cooked food in the west of the city. Both men and women are welcome. 1 meal is provided. The salary is for cooked food. It is settled on a weekly basis. The working hours are from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. There is a car to pick you up. If you are interested, come and sign up with me. Several people in the group soon wanted to go to work. Anyway, they were idle. Jingshu sighed. It had come to this. This time, the treatment would lead to the fact that chickens, ducks, cows, and sheep would hardly be seen in the years after the end of the world. An egg and a cup of milk would be extremely precious. Just as the situation outside was getting worse and worse, Jingshu's family finally welcomed Jingma's first chance to take the position. Just like in her previous life, Jingma hugged the stamps she had collected for more than 20 years and was reluctant to let go. Jingda sat aside and said that it was nothing. Our eldest brother loves to collect stamps. This is a limited edition stamp from 1980. Should I give it to him? Jingma was chewing an apple hesitantly. Jingshu slapped her head. She had planned to sell this stamp before. It was worth a lot of money, but she forgot about it in her busyness. Now that it is the end of the world, how much can it be worth? It seems that she can only leave it to Jingma to appreciate slowly. Why not don't give it to him? Jingda said cautiously. If you don't give this one, then what should you give? What do you think the position is missing? All three candidates have backgrounds and connections, but I don't. I have been sitting in this position for more than 10 years. Jingma glared at Jingda. Then why not give this? Jing's father said again cautiously. But this is my favorite. I heard that Yukani gave 3 sets of collector's editions to others. I can't show this to them. Jing's mother sighed. Then why not give it away? Jingshu brought over 5 bags of mushrooms, 2 plates of green garlic sprouts, a carton of soybean sprouts, and a carton of leeks. Mom, take these to your parents' house and ask them to taste it and see how it tastes. Jingshu reminded her mother. Send vegetables? Although vegetables are expensive and scarce now, they can get them through their channels. After a while, these will be worthless after the dark day ends. Jingshu sighed. Aren't you doing research and development of dark day crops? What does he need most now? It's results. What you gave is results. And even if he can get vegetables, they are definitely not as delicious as ours. No wonder Jing's mother hasn't been promoted for more than 10 years. She didn't know how to mine the treasures around her. That's right, everyone is still dreaming of returning to the light sooner or later. Jing's mother's eyes lit up, and Jing's father quietly praised Jingshu for saving him from the water. So Jingshu's parents immediately packed up and packed these things and drove the energy car to give gifts. Although Jing's mother has no background, she is Jingshu, and Jingshu is the biggest thigh. In this life, Jingshu's family must fight for some rights. It's not about enjoying good treatment, but strengthening the means of self-protection and having priority in everything. The right to speak has greatly enhanced the comfort and safety of the end of the world. Otherwise, the fat sheep will only end up being slaughtered, especially a fat sheep like Jingshu. No matter where, rules are only a means to restrain the vulnerable groups. Jingshu hasn't told Jingnai about the house yet, and she is waiting for another week when Wu Yui is done with his work and they come together to give a surprise. After Jing's father and Jing's mother left, Jingshu can finally take out the processed and marinated quails and roast them on the Kong behind the boiler room today. Only a dozen can be roasted at a time. Take them out after 5 minutes and brush them with a layer of oil. After a while, the fragrance will overflow. When they are golden brown and dripping with oil, sprinkle with salt and cumin, and the fragrant roasted quail is ready to eat. Jingshu finished more than a dozen while roasting and eating, and saw someone in the group asking, "Fat girl number 25, who is barbecuing? Can you close the windows tightly? The smell is drifting to me. Don't you know I'm losing weight? It smells so good." Really? Building 25 is just 100 meters away from the villa. It seems that making delicious food after the end of the world is indeed a big problem. Jingshu can only speed up the cooking of what can be cooked these days and put it in the space. Wang Dazhao number 1, I'm greedy when you say that. I went to the supermarket to line up last night, but all the seasonings were sold out. Now I just put some salt when cooking at home, but it's tasteless. Wang Suihua sent a voice message. The seasoning wholesale market is closed. I must buy some oil when I go to the supermarket, otherwise I won't be able to even cook in the future. Phone number 3. The maggots on the meat in my refrigerator have frozen into ice chips. Can I still eat it? The damn electricity only comes for 3 hours a day, and I don't know what happened to the meat in the refrigerator. Wang Xueme number 2. It's all meat. What's not to eat? All the snacks and frozen foods in the supermarket are gone. You're lucky to have something to eat. Phone number 3. What are you afraid of? I have stored more than a dozen bags of rice. I don't believe there won't be any stock by then. See, people in the early days of the apocalypse always yearn for a return to light. Jingshu shook her head and ignored what was said in the group. She quickly roasted the quail and put it in the Rubik's Cube space. She went to the ice machine to change a few buckets of ice and put them in the yard. After being fully armed, Jingshu went out with number 1. The heat wave suddenly rushed into her respiratory tract, and the sweat on her body immediately flowed down. In the dim community, she could only see the shadow of the fat chicken flapping its wings without being affected at all. Not far away, she could still see the faint light coming from the luxurious glass cover. Jingshu thought that although the villa area was remote, it was still in the community. With the full occupancy next year, her family had to cover up the fact that they had electricity, water, and food. As a person, she still had to keep a low profile. Just like if you look through a telescope from the height of Building 25, you can definitely see the apple trees full of fruits in the yard of her villa, so Jingshu decided not to sweep the dust from the tempered glass cover on the villa. Let it accumulate, the thicker the better. In this way, when you turn on the lights inside, the fish pond and vegetables in the yard will be covered and no one can see what the villa is like. Oh, yes, now residents basically don't turn on the lights, either use flashlights or candles. Everything is slowly returning to the original state. If the car runs out of gasoline, then use a bicycle or electric tricycle. During the rush hour, the streets are full of the ding-ling-ling of car bells and the honking of buses, and the traffic police are busy again. Now those who go to work and get off work are basically civil servants and people from public institutions, and most businesses are closed. It is reported that as of now, more than 500,000 migrant workers have left Wucheng and returned to their hometowns. Hundreds of thousands of migrant workers have returned, and there are still hundreds of thousands of people who are idle at home. The idle people are causing trouble, and the government slaughters poultry and hires idle people to find something for these people. The planes have been grounded due to weather reasons. Because of the grounding, a large number of people need to be drawn out to maintain the railway tracks, so the number of trains has also been reduced by half. Fortunately, Jingshu's family does not need to travel to other places anymore. Jing's mother heard from her uncle that a distant relative of their lineage is coming, which is something that has never happened in her previous life. Jingshu's heart is pounding. Did she incite a butterfly effect again? Number 1 twisted his buttocks and could peck at various insects to eat without flapping his wings. The new species of carrion beetles will invade soon. Jingshu felt that it was inseparable from the current infestation of these insects. The black fungus beetle is now completely extinct. It has only been popular for half a month, but it has also caused the deaths of more than 10,000 people in Wucheng. As for how many people died of viral influenza in the country, Jingshu didn't know. The news was about catching corrupt officials in the first month of the apocalypse, catching celebrities in the first month, and confiscating materials from various food factories this month. By the way, it reports on how chaotic the public security is abroad. As such a remote community with only more than 100 people living in it, 5 people have died so far. The 4% mortality rate is actually relatively low in the apocalypse. Jingshu came to the back mountain again, where weeds grew everywhere and granite was everywhere. After thinking about the trump card to save her life for a long time, Jingshu felt that it would be more reliable to use hard granite to complete it. Jingshu put the huge granite into the space and then swung the pendulum saw back and forth to cut the rock. It can leave curved cuts on large stones. This technology comes from the Mycenaean civilization in Greece. It is difficult to complete in reality, but Jingshu's mental power is the master in the space. Despite this, after dozens of tools were scrapped, and it took Jingshu 20 days to complete 30 deadly weapons that occupied 15 cubic meters. Cut the granite into cones that are taller than a person and thicker than a person's embrace. The sharp head can be used to kill the enemy, or it can fall into the ground in a crisis to form 4 rows of shield walls and even become a mobile stone house in the absence of a house. Each cone made of granite weighs more than 2 tons. Jingshu uses space as a source launcher and can shoot it out like an arrow, that is, use mental power in space to lift the rock and smash it hard, and release it from the space at the moment of smashing it, so that it can continue to complete inertia. Jingshu has been practicing with other rocks these days. The best result is that she can shoot it more than 20 meters away, and a huge pit is formed around it. With the intake of spiritual springs, she can shoot farther. If Jingshu is in danger of life, and the opponent is outnumbered, Jingshu can throw 7 or 8 cones in an instant and smash them to pieces. If they are not killed in one hit, they can be picked up in the space and smashed again. But if you want to use this trick, then you can't leave anyone alive. She will not let anyone know the secret of the magic cube space in this life, except for the dead. So this is a life-saving trick, and it can't be used unless it is absolutely necessary. The pistol can explain it, but how do you explain shooting so many stones out of thin air? In addition to walking the chickens, dealing with feces, getting water, and cooking every day, Jingshu has another thing to do: cutting granite. Because the space is limited and there is no room for extra granite, Jingshu still secretly comes to make weapons every day. After making them, she sticks them into the soil and buries them. When she needs them in the future, she can come and collect them and put them in the space. Although this ultimate weapon is awesome, it is too big and heavy and has a distance limit. It will break after falling from the air a few times. Without the impact of the sharp end, it is difficult to cause great damage. The inspiration for this was conceived by Jingshu when she was using a crossbow in space. Similarly, Jingshu can also control several crossbows in space to release arrows at the moment of shooting. The advantages are: the random arrows have strong firepower and are suitable for use when there are many people. The disadvantages are: the accuracy is not good, and it is left to fate. The lethality is not as great as that of a stone, and it cannot be fatal in one shot. Jingshu has also touched a pistol these days, just raising it up to aim and practice, and she dare not shoot, not to mention wasting bullets and fearing that it will attract attention. At the same time, she practiced the crossbow. It is simple and convenient to operate, but it is not accurate. If it doesn't work, she can control multiple crossbows in space and shoot people to death with random arrows. She really doesn't have the strength of other novel protagonists who can hit the target with just a little research, so she still uses simple and rough methods. It is difficult to explain these roads. So during this period, Jingshu had to find a way to let her father and grandfather set some traps around the villa. It would be best if they were live traps. They are usually closed and opened when needed. She should ask her grandfather and Baozi's father, who are carpenters, about this matter. They should understand what she meant. Although no one who has ever owned a space in history may use such a stupid method, Jingshu is still full of satisfaction. Being a person should be simple, and killing people should also be simple. Don't do anything fancy. If there is a way to directly smash someone to death, we don't have to think of anything else. In addition, Jingshu also has a little selfishness. When migrating in the late apocalypse, it was very cold with strong winds and heavy snow. Jingshu could only use this rustic method when she couldn't think of other alternatives. When migrating, she needed to stay for accommodation, so she could secretly put up a stone fence to block the wind and snow and put a tent inside so that the family could sleep more comfortably. Anyway, it was pitch black everywhere, so she quietly put up a fence surrounded by flower rock granite, and no one noticed. On March 2nd, 2023, more than a week had passed since the black fungus beetle incident, and the apocalypse had entered its 3rd month. People were panicking at this time, waiting for the end of the dark day in anxiety, fear, and uncertainty. All schools in Wuchang continued to suspend classes, pharmacies had long been closed, and electrical appliances and digital products were closed except for a few large shopping malls that were open. All snack restaurants and buffets were closed, and only a few clothing malls remained. The mountains of materials in the wholesale and agricultural markets had gone to nowhere, and Wuching seemed like a dead city. In order to save resources, all enterprises and governments that needed offices temporarily moved to the buildings in the city center, and only here were brightly lit. On the street, there were more people handing out flyers to sell houses, shops, and cars than pedestrians. If you were not firm in your attitude when you passed by, you might be pulled away inexplicably, and the prices of houses and cars were falling lower and lower. Even the school district houses in the city center dropped from 15,000 to 5,000 and still couldn't be sold. Cars are really the same price as a pile of scrap metal and can no longer be sold. Antiques in prosperous times, gold in troubled times. With the depreciation of garages, the price of gold is also getting higher and higher. All these show that the world is really going to be in chaos. As for the others, there are only a few dozen large supermarkets open for 2 hours a day, but the non-staple food products, seasonings, fresh food, snacks, and even the expensive imported food are empty. Not to mention that tobacco and alcohol are gone without knowing it. As for daily necessities such as toilet paper, they are decreasing at a visible speed, but the supermarkets are no longer stocked. The only pile of rice and flour is the last line of defense to appease people's hearts, as if comforting everyone, but the amount of rice and flour that each person can buy every day is pitiful. At this moment, countless people are regretting one thing. Why didn't they come to collect the free rice when the country distributed it in December last year? Despite this, the fact that the supermarkets are empty has spread like the wind, causing more people to line up in the supermarkets every day, because everyone is horrified to find that there is a shortage of paper today, a shortage of seasonings tomorrow, and a shortage of lighters the day after tomorrow. In short, many convenient things in life will not be considered too troublesome until they are gone. Jingnai felt it clearly. She had many inconveniences during the time she lived in her daughter's house. If she forgot to boil water, she would not be able to drink hot water for the whole day. She had to prepare all the meals for the next day in the afternoon, otherwise there would be a power outage, and she could not even get natural gas. The supermarket even had no lighters for sale. She had not taken a shower for a month and her body was stinking. The monotonous food every day lacked fresh, seasonal vegetables, which made her and her husband always constipated. Although her son would bring some food from time to time, nothing tasted good without onions and ginger, etc. In short, living in such an environment is very troublesome. Fortunately, the trouble did not last long. Jingshu and Jing's father came to pick up Jing's grandmother, Jing's grandfather, third Aunt Jinglai, and cousin Wu Yui, saying that they would stay for a while, but in fact they asked them to take all the food away, and then took them to the new house and showed the property certificate to the old couple. "You are making a fuss. How much does this house cost?" Jing's grandfather pointed at Jing's father and almost kicked him. "Grandpa, Grandma, I bought this house for 100,000 yuan, including these furniture and appliances. If you don't like it, I will sell it again. I just have enough money to pay back the 200,000 yuan I owe you." Jingshu deliberately lowered the price. When he heard that it was bought for 100,000 yuan, Jing's grandfather's eyes were straight. Jing's grandmother quickly interrupted and said, "There is no need to pay back the 200,000 yuan. I think this house is also good. The key is to be with his son and granddaughter, and he can also bring his divorced daughter with him. Dad and I thought that if you are not used to living in a villa every day, you can live here. In the future, when your eldest aunt and second aunt come, they can live here without being restrained. Besides, my live broadcast will take at least several years, so I still need your help. I can't bear to let you go back to the countryside, so why don't you live here first?" Jing's father quickly added, "Mom, I still want to take care of you in your old age. Let's live together in the future. I know that my third sister is not used to living with me, and she is used to living with you, so you can just live here together in the future. You can live in whichever house you want." Okay, it's good to live here. There are fewer people and the environment is good." Jing Nai quickly accepted it and asked Sangu to move all the luggage over. UAI has finished her busy work recently. Come and relax. This will be our home from now on. Sangu smiled and joked, I think you don't want to live there for a long time, but after the power outage, you are really tired running up and down the 6th floor every day. This is still on the 1st floor, which is really convenient. Jing Shu introduced the family to the toilet. They used a toilet to lay cat litter, and Jing Shu installed a 5L small water tank for drinking water. Jing Dad would come to refill it after it was used up. As for domestic water, they could only go to the villa to solve it. Other functions were also introduced one by one. Jing Nai was more and more satisfied. Let your grandmother cook a meal in the evening, and we can be considered to have officially moved in. Jing Yu was still very particular, but the matter was settled. At this time when supplies were scarce, Jing Shu's eldest aunt Jing Pan spent several hundred yuan to take the bus and sent a large box of apples to each of Jing Nai, Jing Dad, and Jing Lai's family. She walked 4 or 5 kilometers with a cart carrying 3 boxes to Jing Lai's house. When she found no one there, she called Jing's father and asked him to pick her up. You said this child came, but you didn't tell her. Now she is waiting in front of your door with all her things. It's so chaotic now, but she is carrying so many fruits. Aren't you afraid that someone will snatch them away? Go pick her up quickly. You can move the luggage here too. Jing's father is a bad mouth. When Jing's father picked up her aunt, he found out that she was robbed in the corridor. Third Aunt Jing Lai helped the bruised and swollen eldest Aunt Jing Fan into the house. Wu Yui pulled the suitcase and held a few rotten apples in her arms. Jing's father carried a broken cart and drove 2 broken cardboard boxes into the house. Oh my, what happened? Big boss, are you okay? Grandma Jing put down the kitchen knife and rushed over. She pulled the dusty eldest daughter to sit down with a distressed look. She asked a lot of questions and didn't stop until she found out that she was not seriously injured. When we went there, the eldest sister was fighting with a few women in the corridor for apples. When those people saw the helpers coming, they grabbed some and ran away. Even the residents of that building didn't get a clear look at what they looked like. Jing's father said regretfully. Jing Lai was whipping the dirt off his body in the corridor. He came in and wiped himself clean with a wet towel before saying, I called the police. The police said they would record the incident first and settle the score later. There are too many robberies now, and they don't have the energy to deal with those that don't cause casualties. They asked us to be careful when we go out. Jingshu felt that in the early days of the apocalypse, all the police force was used to collect supplies and had no time to deal with these petty thefts, which led to the increasingly rampant robberies and murders 2 or 3 months later. The eldest aunt was as simple as a country girl. She was used to farm work and had a strong physique. But at the moment, she seemed a little scared. If there weren't a few women, I would have run away long ago. Unfortunately, I couldn't beat them alone, and the apples were scattered all over the ground. I only picked up 2 boxes, which was a waste. Grandma Jing wiped the dirt off the eldest aunt's body with a wet towel. Rotten apples can be mashed into paste and mixed with flour to make sweet and sour oily fruits. They are delicious. It's not a pity. Don't do things silently next time. Is it okay in the countryside? The situation here in the city is worse than in our town. At least every household has a lot of grain and vegetables stored in the cellar, and soldiers come to deliver water every day. The government collected the previous apples, and we kept half of the cellar for ourselves, which is enough to eat until next year. Lalu was too busy to leave, so I came here alone. Otherwise, Mom, you should go back to the countryside to live for a while. People will even snatch an apple here, said the eldest aunt. Grandma Jing then explained the situation here, have a meal here, and ask Jing'an to take you back tomorrow. We will also go back to pack up and move some things over. Did you send apples to the second child? Is she okay? The eldest aunt hesitated for a few seconds and was kicked by the third aunt. She said, I sent it and everything is fine. Jingshu saw that this was a good thing. What happened? So she called Wu Yui aside and asked, What happened to the second aunt? Wu Yui whispered while reading a comic. They sold cigarettes and alcohol at high prices and were sealed up, and all their things were confiscated. They were also put in jail. I heard that they also bought a villa in Wucheng and were very short of money. Who knew that the housing prices in Wucheng have fallen to the bottom now, and the second aunt lost hundreds of thousands? Jingshu showed an expression of discovery. No wonder she had hinted that her family should pay back the money before. Fortunately, she paid the money back in advance. Otherwise, she would not know how they would be humiliated in the future. But the second aunt and the others were arrested. I don't know if they are on the record. If they are on the blacklist, it will be terrible. Jingshu was too busy to pay attention to the second aunt's situation in her previous life. The evening dinner was very sumptuous. Jing's mother worked overtime until 6 in the afternoon before being picked up by Jing's father. Although the promotion result has not come out yet, the old leader has been dragging Jing's mother to the crop planting center to inspect the work recently. Mom, you have a chance. Your leader probably wants you to be in charge of this area. Jingshu knew that this area had great power. Wouldn't the power of distributing the crops grown be great after the end of the world? Jing's mother was a little melancholy. The 13 districts of Wucheng are competing. If the crops are grown well, everyone will be happy. If they are not grown well, they will be scapegoats. Don't worry, our family has grown such good crops. The open fire meal was cooked with spicy crayfish, braised pork elbow, deep-fried fish nuggets, sweet and sour pork tenderloin, pork ribs and lotus root soup, stir-fried potatoes, and stir-fried chrysanthemums, which filled the table. The staple food was applesauce made by Jing Nai and deep-fried fried fruit. Jing Ma poured red wine for everyone, and the family happily ate the open fire meal. Only Jingshu was not full. After returning to her house in the evening, Jingshu ate 2 bowls of seafood porridge and a whole vacuum-braised chicken, 5 tea eggs, and a big watermelon. The watermelon rind, chicken bones and eggshells were just enough to feed the pigs, so there was no waste at all. Only 2 cubic meters of the 125 cubic meters of space were left. The 64 cubic meters of space was enough before, but now even the 5-level 125 cubic meters of the magic cube space can no longer satisfy Jingshu. It seems that she has to work harder to upgrade it. Jingshu also plans to put more things in it. Jingshu spent 2 months to clear the 5th-level Rubik's Cube. Now she has been practicing the 6th-level Rubik's Cube for 2 months, but she has only reached the standard of proficiency. She is still a long way from upgrading. Therefore, Jingshu decided to spend an extra hour every day to practice the Rubik's Cube space, hoping to be promoted as soon as possible. The productivity of the 12 fields is really much stronger. Jingshu can not only eat fruits every day, but also add various vegetables to her home without anyone noticing. Jingshu made juice from watermelons and oranges, which can completely replace water in the next 11 months. She also planted 6 coconut trees in 6 fields. Considering that the roots of coconut trees will occupy too much land, she tried to plant only 6. If she can plant other fruits around in the future, she will add some strawberries and other fruits that do not occupy the fields. Jingshu plans to wait for a month for a batch of coconuts to mature and make a natural beverage coconut milk with the overflowing milk. It can also save some water in this year of water shortage. Jingshu is also anxious to see the water in the water tank drop little by little, but she doesn't want to reduce the quality of life. Making more beverages is also a very good method. The remaining 6 plots of land were all planted with corn, and they planned to make various foods derived from corn. The next day, Jing's father took Jing's grandmother, Jing's grandfather, and the 3rd aunt back to the country house to pack some things and bring them over, and sent the eldest aunt back to the town. Wu Yui stayed at Jing's grandmother's new house to read comics, while Jingshu was busy in her villa. With the intake of spiritual springs, Jingshu's strength became more and more terrifying. It was no problem for her to easily knock down several adult men, but at the same time, her appetite was getting bigger and bigger. She had to replenish some food from time to time to keep her full, and she had to eat something that she could put in her mouth at any time and not attract attention. So Jingshu mainly made Thai fried rice today. Steamed first and then fried, the rice in pots was fried golden and crispy. Grab a handful and put it in your mouth to chew the rice fragrance, mixed with various flavors of fried rice, and there was also a taste of rice crust. You can't stop eating it once you start eating it, and it tastes better and better. Jingshu used 2 pots to fry rice at the same time. It took several days, and she used up 10 bags of fragrant rice to fry 1 cubic meter of rice. These were her daily snacks and should be enough for her to eat for a while. The old couple moved all the bedding, daily necessities, clothes, and other things from the countryside to the new house. It seemed that they were going to live there permanently. For this reason, Jingshu felt relieved. Could her grandparents die under her eyes in this life? Sango and Wu Yui also specially looked for Jingshu. Sango knitted a cotton vest, knee pads, and cotton socks for Jingshu with wool yarn these days. Wu Yui packed more than a dozen silkworms in a cardboard box and said, "Didn't you say you wanted silkworms a few days ago? I asked the professor for some for experiments. The domestic silkworms are gone. This is an amber silkworm. The silk it spits out is golden silk. It is currently only produced and used in India. It feeds on a variety of plants. It depends on you whether you can keep it alive." Jingshu collected the silkworms in surprise. She had been busy collecting various supplies during this period and forgot about the silkworms. When she remembered, she couldn't find them. It was probably because the temperature was almost dead, unless her villa had a 24-hour constant temperature. Jingshu didn't expect Wu Yui to be found. Although they are not Chinese species, as long as they can spin silk, they are good silkworms. Raise some silkworms now, and the silk will be very useful in the future. After the end of the world, there is no new cotton, linen, etc. In the past few years, it was okay. They could be dug out from other people's homes and corpses. In the next few years, the government distributed quilts and clothes, and there were no new ones. Although Jingshu bought a lot, there will always be a day when they run out. Cotton is okay. She can grow some in her magic cube space and weave a clear way. But many places that need silk are not good. There is no need for too many silkworms. Just keep some seeds and reproduce them at any time when they are needed. Jingshu knew that Sango and Wu Yui were thanking her for the medicine she sent that day. Although they didn't say much, their actions explained everything. Jingshu felt that this should be the way for relatives to get along: reciprocity and gratitude. Relatives are not obliged to do anything for you, just like Su Mimi, who endlessly asks for things under the banner of relatives. If they help, it is a favor, and if they don't help, it is their duty. Jingshu's sensitivity to Sangu and Wu Youhao, who she didn't get along with much in her previous life, has increased a little. Grinding tofu is also a big deal. Jingya turned the small millstone and started to brag in the Jingshan style. Jingya's full name is Jingshan, a very majestic name. Jingnai added some water from time to time and ordered Jingya like driving a donkey. Jingshu looked at her and laughed. In the next few days, Jingshu began to grind soybeans into tofu and then made various delicacies. The south uses gypsum to make tofu, which has a delicate texture, while the north uses brine, which has an older texture, but the tofu tastes stronger and tougher. Wuqing uses more brine in the north. She also made a dozen 2L tofu brains to eat in the morning, and made a lot of soy milk and stored it in the last cubic meter of space so that it is convenient to drink it directly when you want to. When making tofu, soy milk is boiled and a layer of skin will form on the top. After cooling, bean skin will form. Jingshu fried them all until crispy and also made bean curd sheets and put them in the vacated refrigerator. Jingshu made some of the remaining tofu into frozen tofu, which she could put into the hot pot next time. She made some into dried tofu of various flavors and some into fried tofu. She coated it with egg liquid and fried it until golden brown and sprinkled some salt on it to make it delicious. Jinnai kept some tofu to make stinky tofu, and Jingshu thought of Changsha stinky tofu, and her mouth was watering with greed. Jingshu made all the remaining soybeans into 5-spice pepper and salt crispy soybeans. There was really no place to store them in the space, so she stored them in 2L-sealed cans, storing more than a dozen cans, and squeezed 2 cans into other places in the space to eat, so that she could eat whenever she wanted. And she could have it whenever she wanted. Time passed in the blink of an eye, and it was mid-March. The weather was still so hot, and the dark days still showed no sign of recovery. Everyone realized a terrible fact. The dark day seemed to be endless, and the weather seemed to be unrecoverable. And because there were no vegetables or other side dishes at home, the food stored in the family was consumed in an abnormally alarming amount because they only ate rice or plain noodles every day. The food in the refrigerator at home also turned into water due to insufficient power supply. Families who eat fast eat meat and frozen food every day. If you don't pay attention to the refrigerator, all kinds of food will go bad. At the same time, eating the same food every day caused dissatisfaction among most people. Many people wanted to vomit when they saw white rice. Just like Jingshu's previous life, she ate white rice at noon and white noodles in the afternoon, or fried, stir-fried, steamed, and other ways to eat. But no matter how many ways she changed, the essence remained the same. After eating the same food for a week, she no longer had any appetite, not to mention that everyone had persisted for more than a month. Jingshu even swore that she would eat anything else, but she didn't want to eat white rice, and then she started eating instant noodles again. Wang Suihua sent a voice message. We used to have 2 buckets of water every 2 days, but now we only have 1 bucket. It's not enough to cook rice, but just enough for our family to drink. Jinglai number 25. I went to the west of the city to cook food. I heard that the water will become less and less. The water in several lakes in Wuqing is now green, full of rotten organisms. Sangha and Wu Yui joined a group on behalf of Jingnai to convey the group's message. Some time ago, Sangha also went to the west of the city to cook food. It was hard work, but Sangha enjoyed it very much, and she made many friends there. Wang Suihua sent a voice message. Are you still hiring at that place? I heard that at least you provide a meal with vegetables. Jinglai number 25. No, I'll call you when I start hiring. Wang Chichi number 13. At everyone, important notice. The opening hours of all major supermarkets have been changed to 20 to 2100 hours, and they will only be open for 1 hour. If you don't have any food stored at home, you'd better line up to buy it every day. Because no one knows when the dark day will end, which means that no food can be grown in large quantities before then. Also, I heard that there will be restrictions on the use of natural gas for cooking. I don't know when the gas will be cut off, and then everyone won't be able to cook. This news brought out many lurkers, and everyone spoke up to ask what was going on. Power and water outages are fine, but now if even the natural gas is cut off, how are they going to cook? Young master, I have a baby number 13. This is the end of the world. A lot of things have been exposed online, but have all been deleted. Some people say that the dark days will never end. China will not be able to grow any food in these years. Even if there is a 3-year storage, it will be eaten up sooner or later, so we should try to store as much food as possible. Wang Dazhao number 1. It's true. Hey, if I had known, I would have bought more food in the past few months. I came here to line up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There were already quite a few people here 6 hours in advance. Next time you come to line up, you must come at least 12 o'clock. Anyway, the people behind me in the line have already reached the other side of the road. I don't know if I can buy anything in an hour. Wang Chichi number 13. I suggest that everyone go earlier and take the 9 o'clock special bus to queue up at Aijia supermarket. There have been scalpers queuing up at the big supermarkets in the city since the morning. The price of one seat is 500 yuan, resulting in many people still not getting a turn at the supermarket after work. Wang Dazhao number 1. Then I will go to queue up tomorrow morning. My wife is pregnant and wants to eat some vegetables and fruits. If anyone has a channel for scalpers, please tell me. Thank you. Wang Chichi number 13. Now only the countryside can receive it, but it's expensive. I'll give you the phone number. The approximate prices are apples 500 yuan per caddy, mushrooms 200 yuan per caddy, potatoes 300 yuan per caddy, cabbage 500 yuan per caddy, winter melon 400 yuan per caddy, pumpkin 500 yuan per caddy, carrots 600 yuan per caddy. Buy them as soon as possible, as the price is expected to go up. Wang Dazhao expressed his gratitude and sold his car again in the group, selling his BMW for 5,000 yuan. The luxury car dealer in Building 5 scolded her. Don't embarrass yourself with your broken BMW. No one wants my Land Rover at 10,000 yuan, and no one wants my Maserati at 20,000 yuan. But the car is from the manufacturer, and you have to find a car to bring it over. After the dark day is over, there will be no such preferential price. If no one wants it, I will ask again later. Wang Suihua sent a voice message. Anyone who buys a car now is a fool. You can't drive a car without gas home. Jingshu found that Wang Suihua, this auntie, is a chat terminator. As long as she interrupts, the conversation will basically die. Grandma, look at the cabbage, apples, and pumpkins. They are all the same price now. They have all risen to 500 yuan per caddy. Jingshu said to Jingnai, who was making dinner. Hurry up and call your aunt and tell her not to sell apples. Such a high increase means they are really gone. Okay. Then you thought the cabbage was too expensive when you saw it at 10 yuan. Jing's grandmother slapped her thigh in regret. I didn't buy the pumpkin when it was 20 yuan. Now I suddenly want to eat pumpkin pie. So when Jingshu brought 4 or 5 big pumpkins, Jing's grandmother's surprise could not be concealed. Jingshu explained, I harvested a lot of vegetables and seeds in the past 2 months. Tell me what else you want to eat. Oh, my dear granddaughter. Jingshu calculated the time. Some time ago, a batch of supplies had been requisitioned in the countryside, such as the apples from her aunt's house. Most of the vegetables sold now were harvested from their own crops when the end of the world just arrived and stored in the cellar. I wonder if these people who are greedy for money will regret not having vegetables to eat in the future. Apples, pumpkins, carrots, and the like can be stored in the refrigerator for half a year, but this is basically the last batch of many kinds of vegetables. After this batch of vegetables is bought and eaten, only a single variety of vegetables will be left. These are either grown in the constant temperature greenhouse where half of the government's energy is used, or grown by the locals in urban and rural areas who build greenhouses to keep warm, use air conditioning to cool down, and use canal water to grow them. Or they have strong vitality and grow a little, but compared with the population of millions, the things grown are almost negligible. In another month, it will be difficult to buy cabbage for 1,000 yuan. The lack of sunlight, drought, lack of water, and high temperature directly killed 90% of the vegetables, so that after 4 months of the first year of the apocalypse, there are only a small number of mushrooms, leeks, garlic, chrysanthemums, spinach, which do not need sunlight, but can be grown as long as the temperature is controlled and the water is maintained. The governments of various districts in Wuching are conducting experiments in the constant temperature room to study how to mass produce these vegetables. Unfortunately, the results are not very good at present, mainly because the cost is too high and the output is scarce. Jingma was appointed as the deputy director of the Dark Sun Planting Industry Research and Development Management Department this time, and she and her former leader Yukani shared the position. The two of them managed the research and development work of one of the 13 districts in Wuching District. In general, Jingma jumped 3 levels and became the deputy director, and Yukani was promoted 1 level and became the deputy director. Yukani, who had always been looking for trouble, did not expect that not only did she fail to get Su Longji, but she made her level with herself. The most hateful thing is that they let the two compete. Jingma peeled the grape skin quickly and ate it in 1 bite, while saying depressedly, "Let me and Yukani participate in the competition together. Whoever has the best performance within this month can be converted to a regular employee, and after the 13 districts have won or lost, the location of the artificial sun in Wiching will be determined. At this moment, Jingya, Jingba, Third Aunt Jinglai, and Wu Yui were all sitting neatly at the dining table waiting for dinner. Hearing what Jingma said, Jingyi asked in surprise, "Can the sun be artificially created? Just like the sun hanging in the sky and emitting sunlight? My goodness, that's really amazing. So, it doesn't matter whether the dark day ends or not?" Jingma was asked and didn't know how to explain. Jing Shu, who was bombarded with news every day in her previous life, said, "Grandpa, it's not what you think. If the sun is a high-temperature and high-pressure hot furnace that produces light energy through continuous nuclear fusion, then the artificial sun is actually a superconducting tokamak that can produce large-scale nuclear fusion reactions. It can produce nuclear fusion like the sun under high-temperature conditions. It is not hanging in the sky, but is placed in water to produce nuclear fusion, thereby providing mankind with a continuous and inexhaustible supply of clean energy." Jingma nodded with relief and said, "Yeah, that's about it. So next month it is estimated that all energy will be cut off to supply the artificial sun first. Power outages, gas outages, oil outages, etc. are all related to the artificial sun? Then how does this artificial sun provide energy if it is not hanging in the sky?" Jing Yi was confused again. As a poor student who has lived a second life, Jingshu can finally show off the little knowledge she has learned. In 2018, China's artificial sun achieved 100 million degrees of operation for the first time. It is estimated to cost millions of yuan per second and consume countless energy resources, but it is still some distance away from controlled nuclear fusion. The artificial sun produces energy after nuclear fusion in seawater. It can be used to artificially create photosynthesis indoors and then grow food. Seawater can also be used to solve the problem of fresh water shortage, and water can be electrolyzed to produce fuel for cars. Grandpa Jing, Dad Jing, and Third Aunt all looked like they said, "I don't understand, but it seems very impressive." Jingshu sighed and didn't explain. On the contrary, the little Prince of Trouble, Wu Yui, pointed at the food on the table and said, "The growth of your fish does not conform to the theory of biology. And these bean sprouts, even if they are abnormal, they can't grow more." "No, I have to call the professor to ask." Jingshu stuffed the pumpkin pie into Wu Yui's mouth with a headache. "Hurry up and eat. Let the professor know that you have fish to eat, but he doesn't. Think about the consequences. Your pumpkin is not right either." Sure enough, the evening news broadcast mentioned the artificial sun and the benefits after its success. It was a big pie to let everyone fill their stomachs in this doomsday. At least keep quiet and don't make trouble. The artificial sun plan has been implemented in this life. Is about to start a daily bombardment of propaganda about what is the artificial sun, the benefits of it after being built in various provincial capitals, and admitting that building an artificial sun now can replace all of this without knowing when the dark day will end. Let everyone not worry. Once the artificial sun is built, all difficulties will be solved, and let the people tighten their belts and survive this period. So many people began to look forward to the artificial sun. And the rumors of the doomsday theory on the internet were also self-defeating. Food can be grown again. The fresh vegetables cultivated in various places on the news station also look smart and lovely in front of the camera. Jingshu didn't know how to evaluate the artificial sun. After all, it is a cutting-edge scientific and technological force, and it can't be said that it has occupied all the livelihood energy and killed many people. After all, it really succeeded in the dark day, and it also mass-produced some food and saved many people. The most important thing is that in this year of drought and water pollution, it finally saved many people who were about to die of thirst. So Jingshu is not qualified to evaluate this great livelihood research and doesn't want to care about these things that are far away from her. Jingshu just wants to live comfortably in the end of the world. Now the key point. Stop breathing. In the middle of the third month of the apocalypse, there was only 3.5 hours of electricity every day, and water had to be delivered by water trucks. Now, Jingshu was told that after the artificial sun plan was implemented, natural gas would be cut off for all people. This was a headache for Jingshu, who had a lot of food. The news asked everyone to make more cooked food for storage. When natural gas was cut off, they could use coal or induction cookers instead. The coal manufacturer raised the price 3 times the next day, waiting for the influx of buyers. In the end, not many people came. After a few days, he realized that most people now had no vegetables at home, and the frozen food was almost finished. After a month, the rice cooker could cook noodles and rice. Even if there were some vegetables but no oil, they could only cook them together. Then what was the use of coal? Stir-frying the air? Not long after, private coal and charcoal in various places were confiscated. The people who were still clamoring at the beginning later reacted. Without water, vegetables, oil, and seasoning, what else could natural gas do? Let's eat, let's eat. Grandma Jing brought the last dish of stir-fried king oyster mushrooms with green peppers to the table, and Jingshu also served everyone winter melon meatball soup. A mouthful of soup before dinner was enough to make you live to be 99. Since the villa is fully equipped with circulating water for washing vegetables and rich seasonings, Grandma Jing, Grandpa Jing, third aunt, and Wu Yui ate this evening in another villa. Third sister, it's not easy for you to work. You can take this little meat back home and eat it. Jing's father pointed at the braised chicken on the table and said helplessly, "It will go bad if there is no refrigerator." "Don't worry about it." Jing Lai urged to eat quickly. During this period, third aunt went to the west of the city to process cooked food for the government. She took back all the cooked chicken, pork elbows, etc. distributed every week and put them in the villa refrigerator. Although she said that she could take them when she wanted to eat, she never took them once. Your third aunt is so proud. Don't pay attention to her. She just feels embarrassed for her mother and daughter to eat at your place. Grandma Jing whispered to Jingshu. After dinner, Jing's father put the dishes into the dishwasher for automatic washing. Jingshu and her family sat in the much smaller dining room and ate some fruit after dinner. They also held a family meeting. Jingya spoke first. The current situation is worse than the famine we experienced back then. We could at least grow food back then, but now we can't. I don't think the artificial sun in the news is reliable. I go to the slaughterhouse in the west of the city every day. The poultry has been processed almost completely. It's too tragic. If they kill them this way, there won't be any animals in Wuching in the next few years. After they finish eating the frozen meat and this batch of cooked meat, they will find that they won't be able to eat meat for a long time in the future. Whenever the third aunt thought that she might not be able to eat meat for a few years, she felt uncomfortable all over. Jing's mother said, "If we don't have vegetables, we can grow them. If we don't have electricity, we can generate electricity here. If we don't have natural gas, we can only use the stove. There are several tons of coal in the backyard, but I don't think it's enough." It's said that long-term high temperatures will cause sea levels to rise. What if there are long-term ice and snow in the future? Let's buy a few more tons of coal tomorrow and pile them outside our villa. Okay, I'll build a small house outside and remove it after the dark day is over. Jing's father also agreed. Dad, you and Grandpa can also renovate the chicken coop and add a layer. There is really not enough space. Jingshu quickly made a request. Wu Yui adjusted the frame of his glasses and showed everyone a picture on his mobile phone. Not only that, the crime rate has been high in the past 2 months. Let the tiger go back to the mountain. Jing's grandmother was scared when she heard it. Don't go out these days. It's a sin. Wu Yui's glasses flashed with light. Grandma is right. It's deliberately letting the tiger go back to the mountain. Jingshu raised her eyebrows. In her previous life, she lived in a mess. Basically, she didn't understand anything and survived in a muddle. It was not until a long time later that she knew all the inside stories. Nothing happened in this life. Could it be that Wu Yui knows something? Why? Jingshu asked with great interest. Relax management, induce crime, let them stir up a bigger mess, and finally have a reason to catch them all in one fell swoop, so as to save some food. According to the current situation, the food chain cannot be circulated, but if one group is abandoned, another group will die, and the rest can be saved. Of course, they choose to abandon the criminals. Although this is a random analysis by the instructor, Wuching will definitely not be peaceful in the future. Let's think about what we should do if we are targeted or chased by a group of people with knives. After all, your villa is so luxurious and there are so many foods. Wu Yui bit off more than half of the apple. Fuck. This random analysis is so accurate. This is a divine prophecy. Why didn't I think of it in my previous life? I have never figured it out. The inhumane riots lasted for half a year before they were truly suppressed. The means were so gentle before and so bloody afterwards. Not a single person was left alive. Those who escaped for a while and those who came out to collect relief food because they had no food would be directly shot to death. It's completely two different styles. Jingshu clenched her fists and her hands crackled. It seems that even if she lives again, she still has a lot of things that she has kept in the dark. What exactly does your professor study? He talks nonsense all day long. The third aunt was dissatisfied with her daughter's intimidation. Grandpa, Dad, let's set a trap, just in case. Jingshu said suddenly. Jingshu originally wanted to find a reason to make those traps, but Wu Yui found a reason for her first, which saved her a lot of trouble. Traps alone are not enough. What if we run into a group of desperate criminals or people with knives and guns? Wu Yui asked, her second-year syndrome coming back. Jingshu clapped her hands and agreed. Yes, Dad, think about it. If dozens of people rush into our villa to rob us, it's fine. What if they kill people? Although it may not happen, we must be prepared. It's better to be safe than sorry. After hearing this, the family was really a little scared. After all, everyone can still eat now, but what if a starving person sees the situation in their villa? At the moment, they didn't discuss other things and started to study what traps to make. The next day, Jingshu, Jing's father and Jing's grandfather started to put up a row of fences along the perimeter of the villa, and then started to dig a pit from the inside of the fence to the wall of the villa. They planned to dig a 2-meter deep trench and put a sensing mechanism wooden board on it. As long as someone stepped on this area, they would fall directly into it. The fence has been put up. Why don't you go through the main gate but climb over the fence? What do you want to do? You are definitely not a good person. Just stay in the pit. The wooden board is one-way open, and it will open instantly only when someone steps on it and exerts force. Then install the screws that bounce back, and it will close instantly again if someone steps on it and falls down, which means that the person who falls down cannot open the door. Jingshu meant to put the barbs directly on it to pierce the half-body and make the person completely paralyzed, but the whole family had never experienced the murderers who took human life lightly, and did not understand that they had wanted to try the taste of murder and robbery in their bones, so they all agreed that it was enough to trap the enemy, and there was no need to kill people because killing people would go to jail. Jingshu did not say anything else, but planned to build the trap by then, and she would definitely add ingredients. If she did not kill the people who dared to break into the villa, she would not be called Jingshu, and she also had a deep resentment about this. In her previous life, she kept browsing posts while hiding at home, worried that her home would also be robbed and murdered. She would see how many people broke into the community, how many crazy people with machetes and steel pipes killed people, robbed people, and threw stones at people, using various cruel and abusive methods to kill people. Then, a certain area was occupied by people from a certain society. Not only did they rob the food, but they also learned from the movies, killing all the men and raising pigs for the women, occupying the land and becoming the king. Everyone thought that this was the end of the world and they could do whatever they wanted. The government was a soft egg, and whoever had the most powerful military force could rule the world. So, Jingshu really hated these people. After all, They made her tremble with fear for half a year in her previous life. On the other hand, Jing's father then bought enough composite wood boards from the decorator Lao Chen. 2 boards formed a trapdoor. It would take about hundreds of boards to cover the whole villa, but now these are very cheap, so it didn't cost much to get it done. Then they focused on setting traps at the main door. After all, Jingshu's house was covered with tempered glass, and the inverted triangular tempered glass was not easy to break. Even if it was broken, it would take a lot of effort to remove the whole piece. Therefore, the main door was the most important for protection. Jingshu expressed her idea: it is best to have a live trap. For safety reasons, it will not be triggered normally. It will only be triggered when we open it manually. Considering safety and confidentiality issues, Jingshu only quietly expressed her ideas to Jing's father and Jing's grandfather the next day. Although they all felt that Jingshu was making a fuss and believing everything she heard, they still couldn't stand Jingshu's persistence and finally agreed to make a double trap for her. 20 or so trip traps were made around the main door. This kind of trap is simple, practical, and not dangerous. Use steel hoops to lay circles in front of and around the main door. When the trigger is closed, walking on it will feel like stepping on a rope. As long as you are careful, you will not trip. Once the other end is connected to the trigger, the spring will pop open and the steel hoop will close, which will fix anyone and any creature stepping inside, preventing them from destroying the door or moving. At that time, they will be a living target and can be hit as you want. The second trap is inside the door. The villa is very high, so Jing's father installed a special mechanism. Jingshu went to the zoo again and got 3 protective nets specially designed to capture large animals. This is a 304 steel net, hanging from the top of the villa with 4 legs. When needed, it can be thrown down with a button, and it is guaranteed to smash the chicken to death. The 4 legs of the net have cone hooks. Once the net is inserted into the soil, it will ensure that the person inside cannot climb up. Jingshu tricked number 1 to the door, experimented several times, and found the right position. After pressing the switch, a large net came down and instantly trapped number 1, the fat chicken at the door, unable to move. The fat chicken flapped its wings, and its feathers fell all over the ground as it screamed. The fat chicken had gained a lot of strength recently, but it just didn't flutter. Jingshu was very satisfied with this. She didn't need to control it for too long. A little time was enough. Jingshu used the fat chicken to make other traps and was very satisfied with them. However, the happy fat chicken seemed to have a shadow. Every time it passed by the door, it trembled and followed Jingshu's steps, fearing that it would be crushed and unable to move by something inexplicable. The whole chicken was much more obedient. Small stones and chili powder were also placed on it. Jingshu secretly put a lot of glass fragments and even strong sulfuric acid. If necessary, she could press a button to give a big surprise to the intruder. As Jingshu's family installed various traps day by day, Jingya and Jingba also added a layer to the chicken coop. Jingshu almost spent all her last money to buy several tons of coal and built a small coal house behind the villa. The situation in Wucheng became worse and worse. Jingshu almost forgot when the murder and robbery started. In this life, when Jingshu was busy again, a reminder came from the group. Wang Qiqi number 13, at everyone, it's best to bring a stick with you when you go out recently and don't go alone, especially after going to the supermarket to buy things. You must be careful. At phone number 3 in our community was robbed by several people today. Because he resisted strongly, he was seriously injured. The hospital is very short of medicine recently, so he can only bear it. The weather is hot now and the wound is easy to fester. It's best not to get injured or sick. Phone number 3. That group of swindlers really can't queue up to buy food, so they squat at the door and stare at us who are alone. They dare not rob us because there are police in the supermarket, but they rob us openly as soon as we leave the supermarket. It's useless for me to shout for help. I called the police and they said that there were no casualties and they just recorded it. Damn it, they are getting more and more rampant. Wang Xueme number 2. Fortunately, I went to queue up at 4 o'clock in the morning and returned without buying anything. Wang Cuihua sent a voice message. Who are you? I queued for 2 days to buy a kilogram of rice.